Welcome to Chamber Talk. We got a great show for you today. I want to welcome back to the show Police Chief Tim Chatman. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Absolutely.
Tim, we talked before we got started today just a little bit about some of the things going on. You guys got a lot of great programs, a lot of awareness. Been reading about you in the paper and see you out and about. So let's talk a little bit about some of the new initiatives going on with the city police.
Right. The last one, we are very proud of that. It's called Crime Text. Crime Text is an initiative to kind of bridge the gap between our citizens and our police department in a discreet manner. A lot of people really want to talk about or pass on information, but they are somewhat timid about the threats and possibilities of being labeled as referred to on the street a snitch. But at the end of the day, when a crime occurs, we all have to be partners with that, bringing that crime or the person who committed the crime to justice. Now, when the shoe is on the other foot, if it happened to you, you would want someone to tell what they saw.
Right.
And so this is a way that we can foster a communication highway between the police department and our public by sharing. You know, we have a few billboards up. We were fortunate to have a lot of the billboard owners who partnered with us to give us these, billboards for free. And that's beautiful when we have owners, business owners, stepping up to the plate to partner with us to help, solidify what we're trying to do in our community. And, we have gained a whole lot of information through Crime Text. We have received even photographs of people in the act of particular crimes, and that's great. And we have acted on them, the information that we received, and made some arrests, so it has proven itself to be very valuable.
And this isn't just a short-term project or something. This is ongoing.
It's ongoing.
So we want folks to realize and continue. If you see something happening, something taking place that doesn't look right.
I brought that just for you.
And maybe we'll have this on at the bottom of the screen. But if not, 595-7279, completely anonymous.
Right.
And you can text this information.
That's right.
And you guys can act on it.
Yes. Now, Crime Text does not replace 911 at all.
And let's be clear on that.
We want to be very, very clear on that. Crime Text is just sending information to us about a crime. Now, if you want to report a crime in progress, you need to call 911. That's very important.
Right.
Because we have had some people to send information, and we had to return back, send a text to allow them to, to make them aware, rather, to call 911. Immediately.
So if you are actually witnessing the commission of a crime, and especially a crime that's endangering someone, you immediately want to call 911.
Right.
That's not a reason for the crime text number. This would be more if you have information, maybe the crime took place and there's news about it, and you have some information that may lead to helping solve this particular crime.
Exactly.
Okay. What else do we have going on? Let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and get into some more good things going on with the City Police Department.
At Bank of Dudley, we understand that buying a new home is a time of many decisions, and we're here to help and answer all of your questions that might arise during the mortgage loan process. Our mortgage professionals, Shirley Clements and Sherry Adderhall, have over 75 years of combined mortgage experience, backed by a bank that has served this community since 1905. Call or come by and visit with Sherry or Shirley at our Veterans Boulevard branch, or go online at bankofdudley.com and get started today. Bank of Dudley, creating a custom mortgage experience with competitive rates and terms is what service is all about. Bank of Dudley, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Cullen Supply and Engine Service, your steel dealer at 826 South Harris Street in Sandersville and 910 East Jackson in Dublin.
Welcome back to the show. Again, always a pleasure to have Police Chief Tim Chatman on. Tim, we were talking again about some different things going on in Dublin and Lawrence County. A lot of cars, a lot of traffic. School just started back recently here. And I also want to make sure people are aware of speed limits in school zones. Let's talk a little bit about school traffic and back to school.
Well, yes, we have a lot of people that come in this county that, it exceed the population in our county as well as our city. And with school going back, we have had a span of time called summer that, we were about a normal course of duty, not being aware of certain things. But this time around, this part of the season, we have to be vigilant and aware of the fact that we have kids, some walk to and fro to school from their homes. You have the buses on the highway, and when they put out the signal to stop, we want to remind our drivers to stop. It's treat it like a traffic light, a stop sign. You have to come to a complete stop, and until that flag, if you will, it returns back to the side of the bus, because there are some kids crossing over.
Right.
And we don't want anyone hit, and we just need to slow down. We have a lot of things going on. You got football Friday night is kicking in, and we have to be very cautious about traveling to and fro. A lot of traffic on the highways, darkness, it impairs our vision. So we have to really just slow down and be, vigilant about our surroundings and what if. Not just drive for yourself, but also drive for somebody else. You just have to be very aware of your surroundings.
So even, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this, I believe 25 mile per hour while the lights are flashing.
That's correct.
In a school zone.
That's
but even
correct.
when the lights are not flashing, it's still 35.
That's correct. And I try to stay in that parameter whether it's flashing or not.
Right.
Because what if a child left the school, whatever, or walking with a parent, that child is in that area. So, reduce your speed. They may not do all the right things, but, stay on the sidewalk, et cetera, drop something falls out of their hand and goes in the street, and they may do the unthinkable, run behind a ball or whatever that item is. So we have to be slow enough that we can react to that our stopping time and distance is very key to saving somebody's life.
Well, and let's talk a little bit too. You mentioned when we're back to school, a lot of cars, there are even a lot of first-time drivers.
That's right.
When school starts back, it's their first year getting to drive to school, and distracted driving.
Right.
If I'm correct, and you'll know a whole lot better than I will, but we've got an increased number of not only accidents, but even fatalities.
That's correct.
In Lawrence
That's
County.
correct. Well, in the city alone, we have had 6, I believe, 6 fatalities. And 1 is too many.
Right.
But 6 is a whole lot. That's grave. And, majority of these accidents were caused by speed, failure to yield the right of way. And if we can prove it, distraction. That's one of the hardest to prove. However, one of the things that we were talking about in the break is if we all just slow down, everybody has a big agenda, trying to get the son or the daughter from this point to the next point. They're trying to get themselves back to work, and it just creates the wrong atmosphere and the recipe for disaster, actually. Now, we have stepped up our patrolling and enforcement on traffic. These guys, and they're writing tickets upon tickets. Nobody likes to get a ticket. Sure. I hear it all the time. No one likes to get a ticket. I don't think I would throw a party if I got a ticket. But if I got one, it would remind me
slow down.
Right, to slow down and not do that again. And we're doing everything possible I feel like we can do to slow some of this stuff down. We have a lot of our motorists. We did a little study, put officers at traffic lights and just watched and monitored those traffic lights. And it was an alarming amount of people just running straight through the traffic signals and or stop signs. So we thought it was necessary to just step that up along with other things in our area, from gang control to anything that you can imagine, not just traffic, but all things.
Right.
And because every one of these issues affect Dublin in some kind of way.
Right.
So we're trying to do our best to slow it down and think of ways to be out of the box. And we're always looking for ways, best practices to preserve life.
Right. And you and I talked about this, Tim, but ultimately at the end of the day, you can have as many patrol cars on the road, signs, cameras, whatever else, but it's the citizens. It's up to us, ultimately, the speeding, the distracted driving, and all the other things that are taking place there, to slow down.
Right.
And I do believe at the end of the day, you know, you and I, of course, we're both pastors, and we talk about this with our churches, and but that need to rest and slow down and prepare yourself. And every one of us are guilty.
Right.
You run out of the door, you're late, like you mentioned, you're going to school, wherever it is. But I believe I can speak for Mr. Chatman and myself here. We would plead with you to say, slow down and pay attention. And cell phones. I can't tell you the number of people I pull up beside at a red light, and you see them just going. Interstate 16, several bad accidents on Interstate 16. I passed a truck driver with a cigarette in one hand and a cell. I don't know how the driver was driving the truck, had a cell phone in one hand texting and a cigarette in the other. Do we text something like that? Do you report that? Does it do any good?
Well, if you can get a tag number and report it, but this is the problem. Most of the time when an officer or deputy or a trooper responds to that, if they're not able to see it themselves, then there's no way that they can file or make a charge against that person. Now, if the witness saw the individual and stayed behind the car until it was pulled over and gave their name as a witness, then yeah, you can kind of do something with that. But it's just the fact of the matter of, you know, maybe stopping that individual, you know, drive a little bit safer. He could say, or she can say that I was not doing that. And regardless what they say and what they do, the fact that if they were pulled over, that was a warning to them.
Maybe they would
anymore.
realize.
Yeah, we live in a microwave society. We want everything fast, and we're trying to get to point A to B very fast. And the thing about it, we all have to remind ourselves that where we're going is not moving. It's going to be there when we get there.
Right.
And if it takes me being there, arriving 5-10 minutes late, my objective is to get there.
And I think sometimes, and we do, all of us, I think, fit into this category, but we may overemphasize our importance. You just mentioned it. Right. It's going to be there.
It's going to be there.
And even if you didn't get there at all, the
it's
place
still
will still be there.
Right.
The event will still happen. It'll take place. There may be a minor inconvenience or two, but at the end of the day, we're not as important as we like to think that we are sometimes. Right. So, again, I think just slowing down and paying attention to what's going on.
That's where the road rage come in. You know, the road rage. People are, you know, the attitude is bad. They're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, and you have a car that's in front that's driving the normal speed limit. Now that becomes a problem. And, you know, all the nerves are kind of out of whack, and you're blowing your horn, tailgating. That's a recipe for disaster. Slow down. It's not, the place is not going nowhere.
Right.
And, but that's, you know, as you said earlier, that's something that all of us have to work on to try to be better and make it better. It takes all of us coming together doing this, but the responsibility is that driver, bottom line, to set the tone for safety. We all have to set the tone for safety. Walk around your car, make sure your headlights are working. You know, look at your tires, make sure your signal lights are working, etc.
All right. And you mentioned earlier, and I read, and I couldn't believe in our local paper that someone would feel like it's not our job to be responsible and to report things.
Right.
Like you said, if somebody crawled through the window in my neighbor's house, I'm sure my neighbor would want me to give you guys as much information as I could if I witnessed that.
Yeah.
So we do. We've got to work together, help one another, report the things that we're seeing, vigilance and slowing down.
Well, one thing I've learned, when you know you're doing the right thing, listen to what people say. You have to have people saying, attacking you when you're trying to do the right thing to remind you why you were called to do that job. I've never been that type of person to be stopped or swayed not to do my job based on what someone says.
Right.
This is bigger than me. It's bigger than what people say. We all have to come together and make Dublin safe. That's been my goal since I got here. That's been the goal of those men and women at that department. And I believe it's the goal of our citizens of Dublin to have a safer place. We all know we cannot stop crime, but overall, our crime stats are down. We are fortunate to have the caliber of officers that we have. Each and every one of them, I believe, are very community driven. We have a good relationship here in Dublin with the citizens here. We are all about community service as well as customer service. And we want to set the tone of professionalism. We are a state accredited agency, and we plan to maintain that. And we look for best practices to be better, to respond better, to serve better, to train better.
Right.
And which is very key to the catalyst of change.
Well, and let's talk about that responsibility again, because as many things as there are on you and your staff and your department, there are things that we can do. There's some common sense protection measures that we can take, and this is one thing right here that is available to us.
Right.
Tell me, how do we come across these?
Well, that is our hanger. That actually deter people from breaking into your car. Okay. We did some training with that and try to promote that in our city, in our county, not to leave any valuables in your car. We're taking guns off the streets in an alarming number. Just the other day, assault rifle and a 40 Glock came back stolen, which we feel like was stolen out of a car. And if we can take these things, do not leave guns in the car. It's good to have a gun in your car, but when you park it, take the gun with you. Don't leave any valuables, your phones, iPads, and purses, wallets, stuff like that. Remove those. And the problem is, when a person believes it won't happen to them, that's when it's going to happen. So we're promoting that. Don't leave anything in your car.
Well, and it's not too early. It's August.
Right.
Holidays are just around the corner. People are already starting to do holiday shopping and Christmas shopping, and so packages, valuables, anything
exactly
that somebody walking by would see in plain sight. We want to make sure we don't leave those things.
Right, and that's a good time. That's a good time. I think we're in the right time to go ahead and start preparing. And they can actually pick that up at the City Hall up front. We keep a bunch up front. They can stop by the police department and also pick one up as well. And they're free. So that helps us with our numbers and our stats. We want to lower those areas.
And we'd be glad to keep these for you at the chamber as
Thank
well.
you.
We're going to take one more quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to wrap things up.
All right.
So.
I'm Dale Nifong, your State Farm agent on Hillcrest. We're celebrating 14 years of service to the Dublin, Lawrence County communities. Please call us, text us, or even email us to find out what makes us different and how we can help you. We're located on Hillcrest between Dublin High School and Kroger.
The hottest lineup of Nissans is at Dublin Nissan.
Dublin Nissan has the Altima S as low as $19,387.
Call, click, or come see us. Dublin Nissan, the only dealer you will ever need.
Welcome back to the show, Tim. We were talking about traffic and protection and different things that the citizens here can do to protect themselves. And another area of concern, which is a lot of great excitement as well, but there's a lot of growth in the downtown corridor.
Yes.
A lot of construction going on right now. some roads blocked off from time to time. Talk to us a little bit about safety in the downtown area as far as travel.
Well, downtown is growing. It is growing. It's an exciting place to be. A lot of work have taken place based on a vision that was cast, launched years ago, and now we can see the manifestation of those visions. We have a lot of great team members downtown who are doing an excellent job. First Friday, what can we say about First Friday just passed? I was excited about the opportunity of being able to walk downtown with my two sons and my granddaughter, and just enjoying the atmosphere was awesome. We had a few roads blocked, but through Main Street downtown, it was left open based on their plan, and it was a great plan to allow people to see what was going on in that area and the progress. So with that in mind, you have a lot of foot traffic. We have taken the necessary steps of trying to block off and have a presence downtown. You have a crosswalk downtown where a lot of pedestrians use.
Well, and let's talk about that crosswalk real quick. Okay, it's right before you get to Dino's and Company Supply.
Right.
It would be right after Natalie Curry's shop there, but there's not signs or anything there telling you, but that is a pedestrian crosswalk, and so the right of way is.
It's
for
a
the
little
pedestrian.
sign there
Okay.
actually, and but without the sign, I believe a majority of our citizens, and what I've seen when I was walking or shopping downtown myself, as long as you're standing there, most of the cars will stop and allow you to cross.
Most of them will.
Most of them will.
We gotta
And
get
so we
those
got to
other
get
few.
more than.
That's right.
We want all of them to stop.
That's right.
And I think that's the objective, that we have to be, again, be conscious of the fact, just be polite.
Sure.
Slow down. That's that word again. Be polite, allow that foot traffic to cross. And we're trying to implement that also in the Stubbs Park area. The Stubbs Park area, we have experienced a lot of activity of events
Right.
in that area based on the hard work with the Friends of Stubbs Park and all the other organizations, Parks and Recreations.
Tourism, everybody.
Everybody has really poured into that area. And the city of Dublin, our mayor and our council, and the city manager have done a great work, backing up the vision that we had about the Transformer initiative. We have the land bank over there, a bike precinct. We have the officers' quarters. We bought 4 properties. We have 3 that are complete and being occupied. And our Transformer building, they've just finished up on our sheetrock last week. So I'm looking for another, span of time, maybe a week or so, before we be able to really occupy or get close to occupying that building to do a greater work in our city.
And that's our Transformer program right here. I'm holding the card.
Right.
Give me a brief update on Transformer. It's a great program you guys have started.
Yes.
It's been running for a while now. Tell me what's the current status of
I
Transformer?
had a meeting with Mark Butler, the labor commissioner, and he really wanted to see how did Transformer, how did this initiative work. He came down to my office. We invited a city manager and those are part of our executive board to come to that meeting, and we shared with him how Transformer worked.
Right.
He said that Dublin was ahead of the state of Georgia when it came down to the initiative like this, and we were very proud to hear that. Transformer works in multiple ways, not just mentoring. I teach this product, or taught it last year in Moore Street School.
Right.
And I was very proud of that, and we're looking to go back, and also we teach it with Days of Our Life Boys Youth Home, Dublin, as well as Millersville, Georgia. They, during the school year, they were bringing a bus to the police department where we are able to teach this Transformer initiative to them. It's called a Better Me, Application 101, etc., to really build that person up. We use the Transformer as a way to bridge gaps with jobs, and that's how the labor commissioner came on board,
Right.
to offer us some initiatives that they already had in place. For example, if a company hired someone who had been in prison, they would bond that person.
Right.
They would give tax credits to the business, and that's a win-win for humanity.
Right.
Because it's hard to come out of prison and try to enter into a workforce because of the stigmatism.
Right.
So what they would do was insure that person, that if that person stole from the business, et cetera, they would replace,
Right.
The loss. And not only that, but if they do well, the business also gets the tax credit.
Right.
So it's a win-win. And I was glad that they thought enough of the Transform Initiative to partner with us. They are offering a whole lot of avenues on jobs.
Right.
And that helps Dublin, because if we can get people off the street into a workforce, we can reduce the crime right there. Right. Because no longer would they have to steal. They go to work and pay taxes like all of us.
Right.
And then that makes way for a better city.
Two things, Tim, I want to tell you. I had a follow-up meeting with Commissioner Butler actually after he met with you. I didn't know that he had met with you guys, and he spoke very highly and appreciated those efforts. And then August 23rd at the Chamber, we actually have a function that day for folks like the Transformer program. There are different agencies and organizations around town that will be there, and these are folks who have people such as the Transformers and others that are ready to go to work.
Wow.
They won't be present that day, but the people that represent them will be present. And so for our employers, for our restaurant managers, retail, industry, any of those folks who are looking for workers, we want to partner those people together and say, hey, we've got people. Commissioner Butler may have shared with you that we've got 350 jobs available in Lawrence County today. That's a lot of jobs. And we got a lot of people that are not working, that could go to work, that need to go to work, and even that want to go to work. So we got to partner these people together and try to put them in employment and get them off the streets, so so they will occupy that time. I want to tell you, thank you again so much for being on the show today. I always like to give you a minute or two if you'd like anything you want to say to our residents to wrap up.
Well, the last thing, we're looking for always better ways to pull us all together. I don't like to hear that we're divided. Right. We're all together. I have one of the guys, Chris Cook, who I went to school with, West Lawrence. You have Jason Logg and Brad Grimes. We came together and talked about forming a West Lawrence tailgating club. And we want to invite everybody to be a part of that. It's the way, we work Monday through Friday. And we have to have a way that you just come together in a Christian group setting and just have a good time grilling and just having, fun and fellowship one with another. So we just want to just encourage people to join that. We have a Facebook page now.
Okay.
And we're trying to promote, and we're looking for ways to really get that word out there for everybody to come together and have a great time. We're excited about football starting, Dublin High School, East Lawrence High School, and Trinity. These schools in this area, we're excited about, this year, and we wish everybody success. Pray for those athletes that they be safe, and the Lord will cover them and the coaches in this season.
Looking forward to a great year. Thank you for your continued support and all of your efforts. And we always like to thank you for joining us and remind you that it's a great day for business in Dublin, Lawrence County.